Okay, so this is Jeremy. I guess I would consider myself an upper intermediate level chess player, and I'm just going to be commentating on this 10-minute game that I just started. So here it seems logical to just go knight f3, standard development, nothing unusual so far. All very typical. Well, I guess my opponent's knight to a6 is a bit out of the ordinary, but my moves have been very, very typical so far. Okay, I mean, this move is really just asking for me to kick it out, so I will do so, and I'm expecting knight c6 here. That would be the most logical, trying to keep the knight as centralized as possible. Yep. I have many options. White has many options here. D5 is a very good move. Castling is a good move. Bishop e3 would be a good move. Potentially even e5 is a good move here. Although, probably d5 is better than e5. I'm just gonna... I'll go d5, actually. Why not? Because now his knight has to go to one of two passive squares, either a7 or b8, as my opponent opts for, and I'm just going to castle now. Typical. Okay, h5, wow. That is a very aggressive move. However, I don't believe in the move. I'm just going to go e5. Okay, my opponent being very, very aggressive. Usually, it's a good idea to just put a buffer to those wing pawns if they're advancing, and h3 is a great way to do that. Okay. So now my opponent is really, really going off the rails, and that move is going to lose the game for black, because it weakens the king drastically. Number one, so it weakens these light squares directly around the king, and when I go knight g5 here, I create the threat of knight to e6, because the pawn on d7 is clearly pinned to the king. So, and my opponent just completely ignores it. So I will of course go there and just execute my threat. Why not? Yeah, and now my opponent is, completely lost. I mean, black really has nothing to do here. But fully within their rights to play on. I will, since moving the bishop would allow them to take my knight, I'm forced to take their queen, so I will do so. And he has a choice of which minor piece to capture. If it were me, I would probably take the knight, just because knights are trickier, and yeah, that would be my reasoning for which piece to take. But either way, my opponent is completely lost. Okay, so rook takes, so rook takes. I think I will simply develop, and not only is this developing, but it's developing with tempo on the rook, which is a very important thing to do in chess, if you can. Always a good idea, if it's available. And yeah, again, black is in dire straits here. Nothing that they can really do. I apologize for that noise in the background, by the way. Okay, so the one thing that black has here is that my knight is trapped. So they will win that, and I just have to leave it there. There's no point in moving it away and just letting it get taken on another square. I'll just let it get taken there. And in the meantime, I will just develop and attack his rook. Okay, so Queen d3 seems very logical here because it attacks both his rook and the pawn on f5, both of which are completely undefended. Neither one of them has any defenders, and when that's the case in chess, normally you're able to do a fork, which I was there. Okay, so yeah. Now at this point, there's really not a whole lot to commentate on, because my opponent unfortunately is hanging many pieces, and it's just a matter of conversion at this point for white. But it is worth noting that you should never let your guard down in winning positions, because it is very easy to let your guard down when you feel like you're winning. I will simply take that pawn. And okay, d6 is bad because now he's actually allowing my knights to defend each other once one of them jumps into this square, which I will do. And then take back with this one, because the king would have taken that knight if I had not, if I had played pawn takes e6 there, the king would have taken that knight. Let's just go rook here. Standard move, just lining up with the king. Okay, my opponent is essentially just ignoring every single one of my threats in this game, which is unfortunate. I had hoped that that my opponent would play better, so I could demonstrate these ideas in a better way. But so be it. So be it. We will work with this. Okay. I mean, white has dozens of winning moves here, so at this point it's really a matter of choice. But I will just take the bishop. Like in these situations, you really shouldn't overcomplicate it. You should just go for very clinical moves that will either win material or force checkmate if you can. But yeah, I mean, if you can just win a significant amount of material, then that is what you should go for. Also, just making sure that your pieces are defended as you do so. Although, in positions like this, it frankly doesn't even matter that my pieces are undefended, because my material advantage is just so significant that you could play anything here and still win. Yeah, I'm just going to pre-move rook here because moves are just too obvious. Okay, all right. So my opponent left the game, and we win. So that was a very, very straightforward game. I didn't do anything complicated there. I'm just going to scroll through it a little bit. Yeah, my opponent played a very offbeat, to say the least, opening. Well, just losing a pawn, and and then I played very, just very standard moves, trying to take as much space in the center as I could, kicking his knight back, and yeah, just advancing, making sure to diffuse his ideas when I could, then capitalizing on this little pin on his d-pawn, and that worked out very well for me. So yeah, not much more to add on this game. Hopefully this will prove instructive for some people out there, and thank you for listening.